What do you know about church history? Trying to keep straight all the names, places, and events in church history can be confusing. However, church history can be easily organized into 6 major periods according to where and when things happened. The church was founded in New York and Pennsylvania, developed in Ohio and Missouri, continued to grow in Illinois, moved west where converts could gather and worship freely, expanded to other continents, and became a worldwide church. Those are the 6 periods. Now, let's take them one at a time and see what happened during each period. First, beginnings.
I'm standing in the sacred grove in Upper New York State. This is where it all began, where Joseph Smith had the first vision.
Not too far from the sacred grove is the hill Cumorah. This is where the coming forth of the Book of Mormon began. Joseph received the gold plates from the angel Moroni here in 1827.
The Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania, the priesthood was restored along these banks.
And the church was organized at the Whitmer home here in Fayette, New York on April 6, 1830.
There were quite a few revelations received as the church was being restored. 39 sections of the Doctrine and Covenants were recorded during the beginnings period. They dealt with the things needed to establish the church, like the Book of Mormon, missionary work, the priesthood, and the organization of the church. By the end of the beginnings period, the church had 280 members, which means that the entire church could fit in an average-sized chapel.
We call the second period in church history 2 church centers because it happened in two places. Kirtland, Ohio, and Independence, Missouri.
That's right. Here in Kirtland, the saints built this beautiful temple.
In Missouri, mobs persecuted the saints.
And Zion's camp marched
From Kirtland
to Missouri.
87 sections of the Doctrine and Covenants were recorded during this period. Through these revelations, the first bishop was called, the first temple was built, the vision of the 3 degrees of glory was received, the word of wisdom and tithing were revealed, the first presidency was organized, and the 12 apostles were chosen.
the Lord and ancient prophets appeared here in the Kirtland Temple to restore vital priesthood keys.
But apostasy in Kirtland, Ohio, forced the prophet Joseph Smith and other faithful members to gather in Missouri.
More persecution in Missouri drove the saints from the state.
But that didn't stop our growth.
By the end of the second period,
2 church centers,
there were almost 18,000 members of the church.
enough to fill a sports arena.
This is where they gathered. They called it Nauvoo, the city beautiful, which brings us to the third period in church history, Nauvoo. The 12 apostles left the settlement for a mission to the British Isles.
The world's greatest women's organization, the Relief Society, was founded in a room above Joseph Smith's store.
These stones are the remnants of the Nauvoo Temple, which was built here overlooking the city.
10 revelations in the Doctrine and Covenants were recorded during the Nauvoo period, including some of the crowning doctrines of this dispensation.
That's right, including revelations about temple marriage and temple work for the dead.
The Carthage jail in Illinois. This is where one of the most tragic events in church history occurred. The martyrdom of the prophet Joseph Smith and his brother Hiram in 1844.
Persecutors thought the death of the prophet would mean the end of the church. They couldn't have been more wrong.
By the end of the Nauvoo period, when the saints crossed the Mississippi River and left Nauvoo,
There were about 34,000 members.
Twice as many as they had when they came.
From Nauvoo, the Lord led the saints across the Great Plains. The fourth historical period is the Church in the West.
Only one section of the Doctrine and Covenants was recorded during this period, Section 136, which revealed, among other things, how to organize the pioneer camp. Official Declaration 1 was also recorded, ending the practice of plural marriage.
Even though fewer revelations were added to the Doctrine and Covenants, living prophets provided guidance necessary for the church to continue to grow.
4 temples were built during this period. One of these, the Salt Lake Temple, became an ensign to the nations of the world.
During the Church in the West period, membership grew from 34,000 to almost 270,000. That's enough to fill more than 1,000 chapels on Sunday.
From here, President Brigham Young and his successors sent the saints to settle the surrounding soil. San Bernardino, California, Las Vegas, Nevada, Cardston, Alberta, Canada, Colonia Juarez, Mexico, and Paris.
Paris, Idaho, that is.
The next period of history was one of expansion. Missionary work expanded in Asia, South Africa, Central and South America, the Pacific, and other places throughout the world. For the first time ever, an apostle of the Lord traveled around the world, visiting the saints all over the globe.
Welfare Square, Salt Lake City. The welfare program was organized during this period of expansion.
Supplies ministered under this program helped the saints through a worldwide economic crisis.
And a world war.
And membership during the expansion period expanded from around 270,000 to more than 1.1 million. In 1918, President Joseph F. Smith received an incredible revelation on the redemption of the dead. But it wasn't until 1979 that it became what we know today as Section 138 of the Doctrine and Covenants.
This brings us to the period we live in, the worldwide church. As membership increased, additional quorums of the 70 were organized, providing leadership to administer the church programs all over the world, no matter how large the church gets.
Now, large and small temples are being built at an incredible pace all over the world.
To provide temple blessings to all the members.
There's hardly a major city on the earth without a congregation of Latter-day Saints. In 1997, membership passed the 10 million mark and kept right on growing.
During this exciting period, the Lord has revealed a vision of how the gospel will be carried to every nation on earth.
A revelation in 1978 extended the blessings of the priesthood to all worthy males and their families. This was added as Official Declaration 2.
Now, that's not so confusing. You know about the beginnings, established in New York and Pennsylvania, the 2 church centers in Ohio and Missouri, the Nauvoo period, the church in the West, expansion, and the worldwide church. So, as you study the revelations given during each period, your knowledge of what, when, and where things happened will increase your understanding. Some of the greatest events in church history are yet to come, and you will be a part of them. Understanding the past will help you fulfill your role in the future.
The time has now come to turn about and face the future. This is a season of 1,000 opportunities. It is ours to grasp and move forward. What a wonderful time it is for each of us to do his or her small part in moving the work of the Lord on its magnificent destiny.